This is AV SuperFriends Perspectives, a collection of interviews, discussions, and presentations from conferences, trade shows, and events that just don't fit either of the other two shows. Some are long, some are short, but they'll all have valuable insights, useful information, or just good conversation with thought leaders and subject matter experts. And now, the AV SuperFriends.
All right, we are back with another little installment of Perspectives. And today, or this one, we're at Stewart Audio, and we have Cody Dowling, is that correct?
That's right,
yep. He's going to tell us a little bit about the Stewart Audio amplifiers and some of the secret sauce under the hood of these little products.
Sure.
Cody?
So the older products, so Stewart Audio has been known for a long time to create really reliable, high-quality products. But a couple of years ago, we began to reestablish the technology statement of Stewart Audio. So we still sell the AV25 and the Flex and all the stuff that people are used to. But this year, one of the things that we're most excited about is something we call the DPA 220. This is a little amplifier in a dongle form factor. It's slightly larger than the Dante AVIO dongle that everyone kind of knows about, but we can make 40 watts of continuous power out of this. So a single Ethernet cable, it's PoE powered.
Right.
And then Dante in, and then 2x20.
It is. Okay, yep. We were wondering. Okay.
Yep. So it's Dante in, 2-channel out, and then you do have an AC. If you want to use an AC backup supply, there's an inlet for that. One of the unique things about this is that, number one, it's a great sounding audio amplifier, but we actually have inside a DSP built in.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
So we do biquads and DRCs and GUIs and all the stuff that you're used to on a digital signal processor. But it's all built into the form factor. This is the DPA 220. The DPA 220 Plus is the one that has all those extra features, but it's a pretty innovative product. The other thing that's cool about it is that we monitor in real time the voltage and the current that flows to the speaker.
Okay.
So if you lose a speaker, or if you install it somewhere and it notices that there's no load attached, it actually can report that over the network.
Some data about that and kind of on
That's right.
Excellent.
We do real-time temperature feedback, so if you're curious to how hot it's getting up in the ceiling or wherever you're putting it, it is plenum rated, so it can be mounted above the ceiling tile.
Okay.
And then the other thing is when we first come on, we actually measure the load and we set the gain accordingly. So if you have a PoE switch that doesn't do the handshake to find out how much,
right.
You used to have to worry that if you were to put a 4-ohm speaker on it as opposed to an 8-ohm and not tell the amplifier, then the amplifier could brown out your switch.
Right.
This actually measures it when it first comes on and adjusts the gain accordingly. So this product is actually really sort of a technology statement for us. It marks a departure from using very simple microcontrollers and audio chips to actually running embedded Linux. Okay. So inside the machine, we run embedded Linux. Dante is just a container, and that platform actually can be spun very quickly into a family of products, which is what you're seeing here.
So this whole new line you have right there, okay.
Right. So we talked about the DPA 220. The DPA 240 has actually been renamed the 220 Plus. But there's also coming a DPA 880, which is in a new form factor we call SC2, Subcompact 2. This is actually an 8x10 watt amplifier, PoE, all of the same features that we have in our DPA 220, but it's in an 8-channel format. So we're really excited about the new high-power PoE standard because with 90 watts and an efficient speaker, you can make quite a bit of sound. Yeah. So that's the idea is we want to be sort of market leaders in that. So we built our platform so that it can scale all the way from PoE all the way to the 90 watt spec. There's also, we mentioned the Dante AVIO onboard or on-ramp and off-ramp for Dante. We actually figured, you have to buy 2 of those depending on what the install is. So we came up with the idea with a DIO 440.
So it's kind of a switchable scenario?
It is. There's 4 channels, so you can have a 4x0, a 0x4, or a 2x2. The other thing about it is that it's in the same rugged aluminum chassis that we build the amplifiers in, so it's really robust. It's not to worry about stepping on it or it being squished behind a rack or something like that. There's a DPA 180, and this one actually I think is going to be really popular when we implement the 70/100 volt version of it. So the 180 is really meant to replace that sort of 70-100 volt system.
Distributed audio, kind of traditional.
Exactly.
Okay.
And in our older products, we used a transformer to do that. So very heavy. If you drop it, it breaks. It's a lot to ship. We're actually building a new output stage for it that does 100 volts natively. Same processing that we talked about. Really, for us, the idea here is to reestablish the technology statement by reuse, and also to keep our pricing pretty close to what we had in the old stuff.
Yeah.
But we no longer spend 10 or 15 bucks on an enclosure. Now we spend 2 or 3, and we can throw a lot more processing and a lot more performance. So you'll notice on the DPA 220, if you compare that to the AV8 or the AV25, the price is like 20 or 30 bucks more. It's not a lot.
Okay.
But what you get for the money is pretty significant.
Well, I think it's unique that you're doing some of that additional processing and data insight closer to that edge of that speaker, where you're not necessarily seeing that in a traditional DSP environment, that you're getting, maybe you have some passive speakers you've deployed out there, then now you can start getting a little more metric on what's going on there through this as a kind of an on-ramp as well. So it's a little dual duty device. I really like that. It's unique. What about some of the older, like the DSP amplifiers and things like that you guys had, some of those PoE amps? You're still shipping those? Those are going to be workhorses still?
I think so. Most people have heard about this thing called the Ultimo chip. So Dante has a chip that a lot of the small guys, we buy the chip and put it in our product. That's been really, really hard to come by. In fact, it's sort of forced our hand to go to Dante Embedded. So we're still shipping some of our older products, but some of it we're having the same allocation issue as everybody else. So it really depends on the product that you're using.
Okay. I think I looked at them a long time ago as, can I get a smaller form factor amplifier that I can fit into a small lectern and get a little bit of DSP horsepower on there for simple things, microphones, basic EQing of a room, and it's a really unique form factor. You can easily strap it onto the back of a lectern, and it's clean and ready to go. You don't need a full-on equipment rack anymore.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, because this actually is a new product that we're building as part of SP Controls. This is called the HF210. This is specifically for the classroom environment. So you have 4 analog microphones, and it's meant primarily for distance learning. So the person on the Zoom call wants to hear the questions from the audience, wants to hear the discussion. So it gives you 4 microphones with an auto mic mixer, and then it has a USB microphone input that you can have at the lectern, and then a USB output. Yeah, so it identifies as a...
so you can go USB mic in and a USB out.
Exactly. Yep.
As well as the additional 4 analog.
That's right.
Okay.
So this product is really popular in universities, especially because with COVID, everybody's doing distance learning. This sort of enables it in a way that there is some DRC in here, so you can bring the levels up without overpowering. You can make it audible. There's EQ. There's some auto mixing. It has the same web server interface as the rest of our products. So what that means is, at initial deployment, you simply type in the IP address for that product, and you go in and you adjust your gains. There's a headphone out, so you can listen to the mix and make sure you get a good mix on it.
Oh, wow.
And then once you deploy it, that's it. You just set the gains and you're done. You walk away. There is a version that we've been discussing for a while that we're here actually gathering information, is, do we want to put Dante in something like this? Because a lot of people say, hey, this is a great product.
It's a great on-ramp idea. Yeah.
I think so.
On-ramp and off-ramp, for that matter.
Right. So especially to get stuff into USB, I think right now there's lots of opportunities. People are used to all of this, but there's lots of stuff that opened up because of the distance learning that we're starting to do.
Awesome. Well, Cody, awesome. I think this is really unique. If you're listening to this, check out the Stewart Audio, these little amps and these little DSPs. A lot of power under the hood for what they can do, and they can definitely help you for those unique small form factor problems you may have. Anything else from you guys? Any questions, Chris? Larry? Good? Awesome. Well, Cody, thank you so much for staying on AV SuperFriends.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, that wraps up another episode of AV SuperFriends Perspectives. If you have a perspective to share, you can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV SuperFriends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.